Welcome back, Juventinita, to the Juventinita, Back to Black and White podcast. My name's Daniel Negro, and we're live from Calgary, Alberta, Canada. And today, the big 5-0, 50 episodes. I can't believe we're here. We'll drink to that. We got the big man on campus who's been there from the beginning. Pretty much paved the way for me, and we got Mr. I want to say one of the best handles we got on Twitter, the Stallion, who's been, we got his kids on the show. We got everybody on the show. It's perfect. So thank you guys for coming on. I just wanted to start off by saying that. Thank you guys for all the support. Thank you guys for watching, commenting. I want to thank Nilesh, BW Circles. Check him out with all the edits. It's been a blast to talk to you guys in the good and the bad, but we're finally back. And unfortunately, it wasn't the result that I was looking to be celebrating this milestone, but it is what it is. It's Juve. We should be really not surprised. But again, welcome Al, welcome James. I appreciate you guys coming on to celebrate.
Thank you for hosting, buddy.
50 good shows, man. It's kept me entertained.
Thank you. But without further ado, obviously today we got some Canadian boys, but we had Chiesa Day, and I guess Juve was trying to, lighten the mood after what had happened midweek. But obviously, we introduced Chiesa, and we put out an edit, and simply, I wanted to ask something different than usual, and maybe not talk about, he thanked his former president, he thanked Fiorentina. Obviously, he was, the usual conversation in a press conference.
Can you call him though, Daniel?
I don't think so. Well, we'll get it.
Rocco begged for it. He begged for it. He begged for that. Thank you.
We'll get into that. So on the edit, I obviously said, if you had the chance, if you're part of the media, what would you ask him? And now, fortunately, James was, he was right on there, and he got me laughing actually on the first one that he put, and he goes, possible to change your first name. The last guy with the same name from Fiorentina didn't work out so well. So, I mean, little jabs there. That was perfect. That made me laugh. And then again, right on your point, Al, why didn't you call Camiso? You deeply upset the old man. But yeah, I mean, very interesting. Also from another, from also a big contributor, Iskander from Singapore. Check out his podcast. He's, I think, about 4 or 5 episodes deep there at the JSG podcast. And he goes, will you leave Fiorentina and join Juventus on a permanent transfer? So I guess more looking at the actual deal. But and who do you want to partner up with if you have the chance? That's a pretty good question. Al, if you had to ask Chiesa, what would you ask him, buddy?
Oh, man. Honestly, I would ask him, since he's been shifted around everywhere, where he sees himself, like, ideally positional-wise and fitting in and whatnot, because you've seen him kind of scattered everywhere amongst the Azzurri, Fiorentina, right across the top, and now obviously wing back. I just ask him positionally where he feels most comfortable and thinks he is his true position, and hope that Pirlo hears it, and maybe I don't know, maybe it's not what he's trying to do with him.
Yeah, no, we'll get into that one definitely, but no, for me, I think it would be like, do you really know what it means to play for this club? Are you? This is more than just your walk in the park. Yeah, sure, you were, grown up in the club of Fiorentina, but this is more than just showing up for the jersey, patting the jersey. This is going on, performing, and winning. And I mean, so far, I think it's been, he's getting used to it. He even commented it in the press conference. There's a lot to learn. He hasn't really talked with Ronaldo yet, but. Definitely, 6 games in, 7 games in, we got a lot to, and then the last one, obviously, BW Circles, my buddy Nilesh, again, do whatever you want, but please don't turn into the next Bernardeschi. So again, common thread, among the fans, today, but we'll get into some news as always. Cristiano Ronaldo needed to test negative by 3 p.m. today. He did. A little bit more kind of context with that. Obviously, he needs to test negative again tomorrow. That'll allow him to join the group. He's going to be on an individual mandate, probably, getting on the pitch, hitting knocking some balls around, and hopefully putting in some work. And then if all goes well, if there wasn't a false test, then he'll be able to join the team. Obviously, be able to fly, and I believe there is also a third test that happens before the game. So again, that was reported by Romeo Agresti. Just wanted to let you guys know if you hadn't, heard the news. Dybala, there's been a lot of talk. Dybala going to Real Madrid for Vinicius and I believe it was Isco, possibly to the bench this weekend. Reports from Sky. What are your guys' takes on that? What do you think going on? And obviously the contract again. Before you get there, the contract, his agent obviously leaving with nothing. We talked about in the transfer window that supposedly after the window this shit was going to get done. You guys know the whole story. I know you guys are beating your heads, but give us your thoughts.
I think this is all contract. This is all the contract, and nothing against Dybala, but I think his professional team around him is doing him wrong, and he isn't mentally strong enough as a player to handle the pressure. They value him at that $15 million player. He isn't.
So you don't think he has, or you think the club doesn't think he's mentally capable?
I don't think
or
he's
both.
mentally capable. I don't think the club thinks he's mentally capable.
Okay.
If he was mentally capable, we wouldn't have these rumors of what was it after Champions League there? Who slapped him?
Dani Alves?
Dani Alves slapped him in the room. Like we keep hearing these stories, and this time, like this game against Barcelona, this was his time to shine. Ronaldo wasn't there. This was his time. Take the mantle, go for it. Prove that you're that $15 million player. I understand he's coming from injuries, but he didn't take the mantle. And you have that floating around. Then you have these agents. And this is the thing with the soccer agents that's different than everywhere else. Why you hear these rumors of this guy, player X and player Y and player... Because that's what they do. The agent's job is to go get the best value for the guy. So when we heard these rumors of Messi coming to Juve, I'm pretty sure that the agent had a conversation with Juve. The amount of plausibility of this ever happening, it would have been like 7 other things needed to happen before it happened. So even this rumor of him going to Real Madrid, I'm sure 3 other things would need to happen before that can even get there. But that's their job. Their job is to go create these kind of rumors or just the thoughts in the head. And that's how Ronaldo came to Juve. Nobody thought he was going to come to Juve, but what needed to happen? Real Madrid needed to piss him off enough. No other teams would be able to fork up the money for him, and that's how Juve got front of the line and why we got Ronaldo. So, Dybala, get up, man.
I'm gonna get fucking fired up.
I was just about to say.
Yeah, I know you're a
I
big
saw
Dybala
Al's
fan.
face.
Go.
I saw the beer come up, so
I'm gonna get fired up right out of the fucking gate. Here's the thing. 15 million, okay? Bullshit. First of all, I call bullshit they're even fucking asking for 15. And if they are, great, because Juve is the king of nickel and diamond everybody until they fucking brought in Ronaldo. So an asking price, sure. Of course he's gonna barter and take a lower wage. Why wouldn't he? If he didn't want to, he could have left when he had the opportunity when we were trying to shop him like crazy. If he really wanted that money, there was teams lining up and they would have paid him. They would have paid him. He chose to stay. Dybala is with us because he chose to stay. And at what point in management, because I am in management, you take your talent and you try to put them in the best position possible to succeed. So while we want to shit on Dybala after 2 fucking games of him coming back, might I add, after being solid his entire tenure with us, other than 1 fucking season where the whole team played like shit. 1 bad season. Great stats, great numbers. Last year, winning the MVP, playing fantastic football, and his most consistent season last year. He had 2 off performances last year's entirety. This season, we want to rag on him so hard after 2 bad performances, his first 2 performances on a team he didn't get a preseason with, on a team where everybody is playing like dog shit right now. When Juan Cuadrado is one of your best fucking guys, how can we shit on Dybala? Like, the whole team played like dog shit against Barcelona. To pick this guy out, my issue is, if you're in management, you take your talent, you try to put them in the best possible place to succeed. If you really want to lock him in and you want that off his mind. If you're Juve, like if I'm Juve, I want to get that thing wrapped up. If I truly go out there and tell the media, like Paratici keeps fucking doing, Nedved keeps, he's our future, well, you know what? If he is your future, lock him in and take that off his head so that he can fucking just focus and go on the game. Why have all this looming around? And then you got Madrid. Fuck Vinicius. Fuck Marcello, Isco. Who gives a shit? All that happens to every other player. I just don't. We have given this kid so many reasons and slapped him in the face so many times. It wouldn't be a surprise to me if, yeah, he does crumble. But we've done nothing to be that support for him and say, you know what? We are going to stand behind you. Let's lock you in. We believe in you. Instead, it's all this doubt. It's all this. We just put the shit to him. And you know what? I'm not really surprised, but to single this guy out.
Is that his management team? Is that his management team, though? Because if they came to him and said, here's 10 million, would he accept it? Or is his management team sitting there and saying, no, he's a $15 million player?
Right, but you got to remember too, James, that it could be, it's going to be back and forth. He's going to say, "Well,
that's just negotiations." But at the end of the day, if you're going to continuously go out and say this guy is your future, why cast the doubt in him and make this mountain out of this anthill?
There's no.
No, man.
I think we're talking the same thing. I think we're talking the same thing. He can still be considered the future. However, financially, he cannot be if you rate him, take a look at all the other $15 million
take
players
the numbers
that are
out of it, though, James. I'm saying, take the numbers right out of it, man. I'm not even talking numbers. I'm just saying the treatment towards him is not that of one you would do for someone you consider your future. Yeah. They want to sell him. They will sell him at the end of the season. It doesn't take that long to figure out this contract. In my mind, it's clear as day. Juventus wants to move along with him. But I think that people need to understand the club is not innocent in all this, and they're not being upfront. And you know what? If they want to sell him, just fucking say, like, we're shopping him. Like, I don't think we're going to renew, whatever. But they're not doing any services to the kid, and they haven't. And the kid did everything in his power to stay, regardless of the treatment he's had up until that point. All the tension with Allegri, he never said a goddamn thing. Now people are picking everything on this kid. It's like all of a sudden, a couple fans get this idea. Yeah, you know what? I'd sell Dybala. I would sell him. So he comes back from injury, barely trains. He trains like 10 minutes. Pirlo wants to give him a run in against a shit club. The whole team's playing like shit anyways. We draw. And yeah, Dybala is noticeably off other than the last 25 minutes where all of a sudden he shows you what he can do and turns into our best on the pitch. And all of a sudden now fans are picking somebody else. No, that game changed because of Kulishevsky. Yeah, no, Dybala's gone. We got to sell
the game before that. So the game before that, when the Chiesa got the red card and then Dybala didn't play. So Dybala went straight to Paratici and complained that he never got on.
Yeah, but what's wrong with the key player being upset? He's not Daniele Rugani. He's not going to fucking sit on the bench for 5 years and be like, hey, cool. Hey, Pinsolio, save my spot. I'm going to go take a shit. I'm going to come back. It's Dybala, man.
Okay, hold on. Let me just take this. Let me take this one way. So again, we'll talk about that. So one thing you got to remember, well, at least this is how I see it. The kid has been targeted by the fans because of one, he gets injured against Lyon. And now everybody's talking about, oh, he never shows up in Champions League. Look at what Ronaldo does. Dybala wanted to get injured, apparently, according to against Lyon, and didn't want to play. So that's looming over his head. Now he's got a rehab in a short off season. He comes back. This kid's roaring to show something. He wants to do something. But you know what? Now Pirlo's not going to even give him the chance. Maybe as a player, that's what you're thinking. You're not necessarily looking for the best interests. Maybe he wasn't 100%. Maybe he was 30%. Maybe he was 50%. Okay, so the coach probably made the right decision. But at the end of the day, as a player, you're going to be fired up. You're like, I'm ready to go. I want to help this team. We're not playing that well. We had a shitty performance against Roma. We couldn't even have the chance to play. And I guarantee you, if we would have played Napoli, it would not have been. It would have been ugly. It would have been brutal. So then you're having that loom over your head. And then again, there's, contract talks. Honestly, I don't think they've even met, if you want me to be honest. And I guarantee you they haven't even met because Juve lowballed his ass at probably 8-9 million. I can guarantee you that right now. Again, that's my opinion. I didn't hear that from him, but that's what my thoughts are. They lowballed his ass, and that's why they're coming up at 15 million because they're trying to make the case for him. He's got to look out for himself. This is, again, you look at injuries. He's got to get a lock in a contract to secure his future. He's an athlete. A lot of athletes get in shit for looking out for themselves. But at the end of the day, if we want to talk like it's a business, like we all like to, say it is, then he's got to look at it as a business as well. That's one thing. Mentality. So like I said,
Dan,
it's a player.
You're right, man. Like I'm just saying, what I'm saying is it's right now everybody's targeting him and not looking at the club involvement. It's a two-way street. Like that's what it is.
Well,
and it's really hard to lowball fucking Dybala with 8 million when you've paid shitheads 6 million.
Well, exactly.
I would laugh at that. I think
that's what it is.
And he's got every right to laugh at that contract. If you see Sami Khedira sitting there making 6 million, not even just fucking being there, and you're Paulo Dybala, you think Paulo Dybala should accept 8 or 9 million? I would laugh at that offer. I would laugh at that offer too. But the thing, it's crazy to me because all of a sudden this switch has happened. It's almost like Juventinita want to, there's this.
They play devil's advocate.
No, I'm going to play devil's advocate here.
No, but hold on, James. Let me say one thing though. Al's got a good point. And this is what I've been noticing lately on Twitter, and it pisses me the fuck off. And don't be afraid to swear because it's going to be an interesting episode. But there's a lot of fans that don't put any skin in the game. They don't put their heart on the line. They play devil's advocate, and they always want to be right. So they say, oh, when we lose, oh, it's okay. It was a tough draw in the Champions League. Oh, they look at it this way. They look at it that way. It's not that bad. There's too many people that just want to go contra, and I say it all the time. They want to be the against, so they'll be when Dybala's playing well. And I'm not even getting into the Ronaldo fans. That's even a whole subject on its own.
They're their own universe.
I can't talk about that tonight.
So that it's honestly, and you know what? As a club, what happened if from what happened the year before when they shopped them. If you want to truly make a statement, you make this deal, whether that be before transfer or not, because you want to say, okay, we do believe in you. We want you to be the future. We're going to put our money where the proverbial mouth is. They didn't do that. Juve has 89.7 million in debt right now. I guarantee you, and I didn't catch your live with the end of the live with Graham there. So I don't know if you guys answered the question now, but I think that Juve is going to shop him to pay that debt because he's got the biggest value. They can go to Real Madrid and they can put on a fucking massive tag, like 100 whatever million, and they're going to try and clear that out because at the end of the day, they don't give a shit. They're going to leave Ronaldo to go to it. They're going to keep making the money there. And then they're going to try and figure it out as they always do, where we're in June trying to sell.
And that's just it. And I said that. I said they're gonna move him. I said that earlier here in this. I was like, it's just there's no way it takes this long to do it. Just don't stop feeding the lines with the future and all this shit. We know what you're gonna do because, and it's wrong in my opinion, But what I don't like and what I was going to touch on is just the fact that there's a lot of people now that I feel have this bias towards him because they're already trying to justify the move.
Yeah.
And he's getting almost like, it just feels like this unnecessary wave of attack where it hasn't been consistent with other players and their treatment. Like literally to like attack this guy after last season, what he did after 2 fucking games of trying to get healthy in an oddball season with all sorts of stuff going on. I don't see it. Whether they're going to get rid of him, the business side of it, the contract, I just don't feel it's terribly justified. That's all.
Yeah.
The attacks he's getting.
And we'll get into the game, like where he kind of fit in, a couple news strings here. But yeah, again, 91 days. James, I know you wanted to say something. I want to let you get your last word in there before.
No, just because Al brought it up, Kadiris at $6 million, and I agree with you. In hindsight, you're like, what the fuck? How is that guy making $6 million? But when they signed that deal, what did he have? He's a Champions League winner. He's won a World Cup. This is equivalent to the NHL in the old days, where the guys, when they became that free agent in their 30s, they got paid for what they did in the past, not what their future is. And that's what the Khedira contract is.
But now the Khedira extension, James. The Khedira extension, though, happened after they signed him. It was 2 years deep into having Khedira.
Yeah.
He was already freaking. You could see he was washed.
Yeah. I'm not going to argue with you. It was a complete mistake to resign him. I agree with you there. But the other devil, I'm just going to be devil's advocate here.
No, it's fine. I like it.
The last 2 seasons, Khedira was playing at the start of the season, and we went on good runs.
Okay, don't bring up. Okay, nah, I don't want to hear that.
No.
Juve AJ was doing the same thing. I don't want to hear that bullshit argument.
Holy shit! Come on.
I don't want to hear that argument. That's literal. It's literally anomaly. And now all of a sudden it's.
I think that's the other big thing that's affecting us this year in the COVID year. In the past with Allegri, any new player that was coming in, he didn't play until about a month in.
A month.
Even longer. And the same with Sarri last year. He kind of kept with the core guys.
Right.
The thing with Pirlo now is, how many new guys are on the starting 11?
See, yeah, but it's okay. We'll get into that. That's a good point you made there. That's a good point. Obviously, we'll get Chiellini going to be back in the group. He's got to limit his minutes. He can't be going out to these Nations League. Yeah, I've said it before. I think everybody's got to be on the same page with that. And it's funny, Tuttosport put out a couple statements saying that the Juve management's going to be backing Pirlo, obviously, with the bad start. I mean, it's been 6 games, guys. Like, again, I had the first date. I was kind of playing, not necessarily devil's advocate, but I hadn't seen the game, so I didn't know really how we played. And, I was kind of being like trying to be positive about, okay, we lost 2-0, Barcelona, whatever. But then I watched the game that night and we get into, where, Kulusevski was playing, Dybala was playing. I'm not sure if you guys, Max Statman tweeted it out, where the position on the field of Kulusevski and Dybala were, and they were really in each other's pockets. And you even look at Cuadrado, they're there on the right-hand side, and it just didn't seem, and we talked about this before the show, as we usually do, kind of just feeling each other out and, just shooting the shit. But it just doesn't seem like this formation and what's being said is getting through these players. The players are not in the right spot. And this is why, on one of your posts today, Al, I was like, this is the Allegri way, because, he's throwing guys wherever the hell he needs to. If he needs Emre Can to play center back, he'll get him to do that. So I don't know if maybe that's what he's getting them into. He thinks he now needs to do that, or maybe the club's signaling that. But it just seems, obviously there's some stuff that he said in his post-match that we'll get into. But, in terms of how the players, and that's kind of my last news point before we get into the formation, there's about 3 different formations that I saw yesterday. The one we actually played, the one that UEFA announced at the beginning of the game, and the one that Juve announced at the beginning of the game on their little, 3-4-1-2 little graphic that they put up. So, when I'm watching this, and I usually write notes if I watch it a second time, just so that we can, talk about these points in the podcast. But literally, I'm like, okay, here's one, here's two, and then I'm watching. I'm like, well, shit, we're playing 4-4-2. What the fuck's going on? So I just want you guys to comment. Obviously, we'll get Al first on the positioning and the formation. But what were your thoughts on how we lined up on Wednesday?
Fuck, man, you kind of nailed it on the head. I spend 15, 20 minutes trying to figure out where everybody's playing first. I'm like distracted from the game because I'm like, yeah, you see the starting lineup, you envision one thing. You see the post-match graphics where they post another, and you're like, oof, is this what's happening? And then they play, and it's a guessing game, and you're like, Jesus Christ. And it's the one thing that's been constant is I find myself always wondering where these guys are supposed to be playing, what are they supposed to be doing. If it's that confusing watching it, I couldn't imagine being a player in that setup. Kulishevsky, to me, is the one that sticks out the most as being lost. I don't know, it might just be me, but he has looked the one out of place the most, other than maybe 2 appearances that I've seen out of him. Oddly enough, one of them was when he ended up out on the left, and he looked pretty good. And then one time when we actually had him as a true winger, he looked pretty good. Those are the 2 that stick out to me where I was like, hey, you know what? He could do this. But again, somewhere along the lines, it just doesn't work as a collective for Juve right now. Yeah. It feels like in every match you can pick out a couple good things, but as a whole, other than maybe the 2 one was a friendly and Novara, I get it, but Sampdoria, it seemed a lot better collectively. And the one thing that I noticed that I've spoken of on the pod is we have, and I think it has to do with being more structured positionally, but our press is non-existent anymore. Oh, yeah. It is gone. This desire that Pirlo stressed in his thesis about winning the ball back immediately has disappeared. Yeah. Now we simply get to our stations and we just wait. Well, the problem is when you have fucking Barcelona on the other side, how long are you gonna wait? Yeah. And then you get a match where you don't get a single shot on target in a Champions League match against Barcelona. You don't get one attempt on target, and they got NATO in goal, for God's sakes. Okay? And I'm just like, my God, man. You got PK out. You got Ter Stegen out. You got no Coutinho. This is set up. It's in Turin. Take it to these guys to come out of this match with no attempts. But positionally, the one thing I noticed is he wanted more structure. I think balanced defensively. And Pirlo has completely changed that mentality. We are not hungry for the ball. We are not pinning opponents deep like they do to us all the time. And it's hurting us. It's literally hurting us. This switch where we always go now to this 4-4-2 defense, it has thrown us out of whack in the counter. All of a sudden, our counter has also faded. At the start of the season, I noticed it looked like we were going to be strong on the counterattack. And yeah, it's just I see us this game and a couple leading to it, that desire, that hunger, that drive is gone. And I get it, Pirlo needs time, but at the same time, when he contradicts the very beliefs that he says he has about the game, I do start to question him. And the guy that speaks so much at the start about not having a set formation, I build it to the players I have. Well, fuck, when you start watching the games and a lot of these guys look out of place, you start to raise questions as a fan, and I think it's fair to have doubts in him right now from what we've seen. He has to be better. I get it. We got to be patient. He's a first-time coach, but at the same time, dude, back up what you say. Figure it out. Everybody else can see it. We can all see it. He has to.
Well, it's and before you go, James, it's the same thing with Sarri last year, right? I was a little bit more on the positive, but no one's saying you got to hang the guy. You give him his rope. You take a little bit more as the mistakes are being made, and you see if he can. Now you got to remember with Barcelona, they were coming off the El Clasico there where they lost 3-1, so they're going to be motivated. But again, they had to change the formation to 4-2-3-1, where they played in a 4-4-2 on the weekend, and their wonder kid basically Ansu Fati didn't even start this game. So it's not like we were even facing. Obviously, you're still facing Lionel Messi, but their most prolific striker didn't even come into later in the game. And I just think that I got to give it to the young kid there. I want to say his name was Arayo, the center back. I think he played phenomenal for them.
How about the kid that played instead of Fati, Pedri?
Yeah,
Pedri was fantastic.
Yeah. And that's what we're kind of looking for, it's the step up. And, I know IFTV made a couple comments on Demiral. Personally, I think he had a bad game. I think he made a lot of mistakes that need to be fixed. I mean, not saying not to crucify the kid or whatnot. We'll get into the kind of the match by match and where I saw that, but I think it was a little bit of a shocker for him. But James, give me your thoughts on kind of what you're seeing with the formation. Cuadrado is a bench player. I'm just gonna say that before you go, but go ahead.
Yeah, I think for me, the reason Piero was hired was Ronaldo hated Allegri, and he was pissed off with Sarri. So Piero sold himself as, I'm building a formation around Ronaldo. The first 2 games he had Ronaldo available. The last couple, because of COVID, he wasn't available and the team looked lost. So you need that 4-3-3. Ronaldo's got to be up there. With that being said, I think he's out coaching himself. Where, offensively, I want my team to be this, but defensively, you're going to be this. And as players, especially as I mentioned earlier, a lot of these guys, they're new to the squad. They don't, usually when you have continuously as a team, I know where this guy is going to be standing. They don't have that right now. So even on our back line for this game here, you have Bonucci and Demiral.
Yeah.
I don't have the stats in front of me, but a handful of games they played together last year?
Yeah, I would say, yeah.
Right? So they don't know where they're going to be standing, and they're playing against arguably the second best player in the world. So how do they do it? There was one play where Messi just dummied the both of them, and we're lucky it went wide, right? So there's a few plays like that. Regards to Corrado as the right back, that's the failure of management. We didn't go get a right back.
Well, yeah, we won't get into that.
That being said, though, we have Daniello, who actually is a right back.
Yeah.
But we have him playing on the opposite side, right? I think Piero at one point thought he was going to have a back 3. That's how it looked like to me. He thought he was going to have a back 3 when this thing started. He was going to have Corrado as a right wing back. Yeah. Is better than as a right back because he's further up the field. So I think he thought that was going to be an option. That's where this crazy idea of our favorite Federico was going to be playing as the left wing back, as a sub for the left wing back. So I think he had these ideas that I honestly think that he thought he was going to go with a 3. Not so much a 3-5-2 conflict formation, but similar to that. But instead of a Trequista, instead of a Regista, he was going to have a Trequista with either Dybala in that spot or Ramsey.
Yeah. See, I
think that's originally where he thought he was going to be, but then defensively, it just doesn't work because the ball isn't going to drop back defensively, properly play that. Ramsey doesn't have the legs for it. So who do you stick there? And that's one of our, I would say, the year after Champions League, where we lost in the final, where Allegri went with the 4-2-3-1 formation.
Yeah.
That summer, we ran out and we bought all wingers. We got Costa, we got all these guys. And then we abandoned that formation.
Oh.
And it feels like similar thing. We got all these wingers, but we don't have the midfield to support these wingers. So back when Conte was playing with the 3-5-2 and when Allegri was doing that 3-5-2 similar, you had Piero. Piero got the ball. Piero spread the wings. It would go to the wing. Either that wing guy would cross it in the middle, or it would go to the wing, go to the strong center forward who would hold up the ball. That midfield will run up, and it would create a chance. Right now, it goes to the middle. It goes to the other midfielder. Goes back to the other midfielder. Goes back to Bonucci. Goes back to attack. Goes back. There's no spraying to the wings, and that's the biggest gap that I've seen from last year and from this team. This year's squad is, where is that transition from the midfield to that next wave of players? Right. So I know Del Piero had talked on some network where he said he thought
it would have been Sky.
A 4-2-4, which theoretically makes a lot of sense. But is Bentancur, Arthur, McKennie, and who's our last guy there? Rabiot. Are those four guys capable of doing a long ball to the wing? Or a long ball to Morata? And Morata, to me, has been, besides the Roma stinker, he's been a revelation. He's been fantastic. He's arguably been our best player.
Oh yeah, but James, I think you actually, to bring that up, I think is quite key, because I think he actually did play a 4-2-4 in some sense. Because you look at today, and Cuadrado was right up there, and even Chiesa would go up there.
But Cuadrado should not be up there. He's the 4.
The problem, like
the 2 should be Chiesa, and should be Kulusevski. Those are the 2 that need to be up there.
But the thing is that it's the same problem, and it's one problem that Sarri had, and it's a problem that Allegri in his last season had, and it's the lack of support in the middle. A 4-2-4, you will still have a massive gap in behind your forwards. All you're doing is spreading yourself out. We're going to turn into the same club we were when we were all frustrated, which was hopeless fucking crossing into the area. And for me, if Pirlo wants to continue, and just real quick, a point on Demiral. I think Demiral struggles big time when they line up as 3 center backs. He looks out of place. Like it's just, I thought he was much better when he was playing with just one central partner, and he has to play the ball way more in Pirlo's system, and it's making him fucking stand out. It's not strong with it, right? But going back to my point on, if Pirlo wants to stick with 3-4-1-2, 3-5-2, whatever he wants to do, I think he has to place one midfielder, and I think this is going to be his problem. I think you have to place one midfielder in front of your 3 center backs, and you have to push with the other 2 ahead, rather than have that one ahead in behind your forwards. I think instead you hold one guy back in front of your defense, and you use 2 to support, because what it'll do is cut down the space from our wingers to Morata and give you a link, some kind of point there. And then your other forward is almost like a roamer who could just attack space. And if it's Ronaldo, hell, he should have a field day. But what Pirlo's issue will be, and what this team, the struggles I see, and I saw some early glimpses of it in Arthur, and I was hoping he was going to be that guy, but I'm starting to doubt it from what I see from him. We lack the midfielder that can drive with the ball, that can just take it in the space. And that's why I said today when I was talking about Kulusevski, I could see him being one of those guys, as one of those 2 ahead of that holder that can actually run at a defense with the ball. Because when I see him up top, or I see him isolated on the wing, as soon as that kid gets pressure on his back, he's like out of ideas and trying these back heels and these flicks, and and he's losing the ball when he tries to hold it. And when we saw him at his best, what was it? He got the ball in areas where he could look forward. Yeah. And I don't know, man. He could be one, but Bentancur, we've seen, he's just limited when he's getting into that final third. Every now and then he'll make a key pass or he'll take a good shot and whatnot, but he's really limited. Rabiot, extremely limited in the final third. So the problem is, who do you put in there that can actually do that for us? Ramsey. Ramsey would be the only natural guy to go there, but then you start to question Ramsey's box-to-box ability as well. Yeah. And I think that's the issue why Pirlo cannot continue with the 3-4-1-2 or 3-5-2, whatever you want to call it. I can't see him being able to continue with that because I think he's limited at the characteristics of our midfielders. I'm not saying they're not good enough. I just don't think they suit that particular style.
Well, and you need that cover guy, like you said. You need that cover guy that's gonna be relieving for both. Like I said again with that IFTV moment where they brought up that first yellow. I mean, you're not, Rabiot made the run just before there, going at full speed. So for him to not be kind of, coherent at 70 minutes in the game, I'm not surprised that he let the guy run. And I think it was a smart tackle to get that first yellow from Demmer, which again we'll touch. But I think you got to go 4-3-3, 4-2-3-1. I think don't even bother, thinking about these. And I'm shocked knowing that we didn't have, we're talking about mid. We didn't even have the defensive coverage. Actually, Danilo's been a revelation and a guy that I've ragged on. But, I mean, he's stepped up when we've needed him. I mean, he hasn't been, brilliant, but he's done to the task at hand. So he knew De Ligt was going to be out. Then Chiellini. And then to still push this kind of idea, I think it's nonsense.
And, sorry, Daniel.
No, go ahead.
What I noticed was, at the start, I was still optimistic. I was feeling really good because Pirlo didn't have them shape-shifting to get into the defensive phase. When he lined up originally with this 3-5-2, it was really simple. You were defending with 8. Those 3 drop back in front of the 3 center backs, and your 2 wing backs cut back. You have 5 at the back line, 3 ahead, like a standard. Yeah. Ever since he's gone to this 4-4-2 base, it's thrown shit for a loop. And it's terrible to see, but I think if you wanted to do that, at least keep it basic and keep it simple so the guys don't have to rearrange and shuffle and do it's too much. I think James touched on it and he was spot on. I think he's over analyzing and engineering tactics of what he's trying to do, and I think he just needs to keep it simple. But I agreed with you, and I put it on today on the post, 4-2-3-1 or a 4-3-3, and I think it needs to depend on the players he uses. Yeah. Because I think if you're going to have Ramsey in the hole, I think you have to have McKennie as one of those pivots, and you're going to need, we have to have our fullbacks pressing. They have to support our forwards. So if you're going to do that, make sure McKennie's in there. If you want to use Ramsey in the hole, drop him back like we did Emery Chan into a defensive fold just to have some protection and get your fullback supporting and bombing up the pitch. But I think he needs to start having a plan A and a plan B based on the guys he has on the pitch. It's got to work for him. I think it's a waste, personally, to have Kulishevsky or Chiesa spending most of his time defending rather than getting him into 1v1s and running at defenders. How many times did we see that against Barcelona? I counted once. One time we had Chiesa in a 1v1.
Yeah, that is very true, man. And I think that's the best way to go. We'll see what happens in this next coming game. We'll kind of get into the match, and it started off, I think, horribly. I mean, and I was just reading it on Twitter. Demiral with a pass to no one. Basically,
oh no, he passed it to Messi.
Well, yeah, he did pass it to someone, and thankfully, actually, Bonucci made a block for once, so he kind of saved us. But they were all over us. Pjanic had a shot from long. That kind of gets shuffled in. Griezmann hits the post early within 2 minutes. I think it's an understatement. I know a lot of people were saying, yeah, we could have had 3 goals because of all these offsides. Barca could have had 5 or 6 goals, boys. Let's just say, let's put that out there.
They were one-off chances, ours,
Oh,
right? They
yeah,
were just
oh, yeah.
one-off chances. It's not like we did a crazy build-up or anything. It was literally like throwing a dart blindly at a dartboard. It's like we're just going to try and it was Cuadrado to Morata on all 3, and it was just trying to hit them.
See, that's what pissed me off, is because when you do get moments where, and I don't know if that like scissor or bike, that whatever he tried to do was purposeful to get it to Morata, but we'll just say for the sake of it, it was. Yeah, I was surprised he volleyed it over in midair. I was shocked the hell out of me. But yeah, and even speaking about this positionally too, you look at Dybala, just seemed like he didn't know where he was going. He was trying to help out to push to grab the ball. You look at Kulusevski, overplayed a whole bunch of times where he had chances, and there was just no. It's early, but there's just no cohesion, and it's like you said, it's been like that for the past few games. A couple other moments. Again, like I said, it's just. It seemed like the back line was unsure and Barca was having their way. Like you mentioned, I think it was even once. It was 2 or 3 chances where either Griezmann was going in between the defenders and taking a shot, or Messi was going in. You know, Demiral overplays something because maybe he's not confident in Bonucci and leaves. I think it was Pedri or Griezmann or Lionel Messi again wide open. The ball gets slotted over, and I'm just like, what are you doing? Like, watch them like cover the guy. So it was just a tough start. And when you look at the team, supposedly that's not the best Barca, and they're already pressing that way. Within 15 minutes, to see Morata score and then get the offside, you're just like, this is not starting the way it was in the first 15 minutes. I think showed that. Again, we get the 14-minute Messi switches sides. Unbelievable ball, by the way, to get it over to Dembele, who, goes back. Chiesa does his best. There's a deflection. They get the first goal. I mean, that's kind of a fluke. I don't know what you guys thought on the first goal.
Oh, so unlucky.
Think, it was unfortunate, especially within those 15 minutes when Barca's pressing. What can you do? It's just kind of a shock to the system. But we continued on from there. Oh, man. Did you see the Cuadrado dive, the push off? I'm sorry. We had issues with this in the past. And it seems like it surfaces up in these shitty games we play where we try and get these little dive. We try and dive around in these little moments. Obviously, he got carded for it in the second half, but it's just it kills me, man. It kills me that we're just trying, especially playing against Barca, the kings of the cell job, and like I said, multiple moments. Where they literally picked us apart, and then we get to halftime. And at the top of my list, I say no fucking urgency, and really, that's all it was in that game. A shocking stat: Dybala had the fewest touches in that whole first half. Literally not getting on the ball, not integrating. It literally was garbage. Barcelona, superior movement. That's kind of how we want to play. They're making the runs. Again, it's something that I brought up against Napoli. When you look at how they play that side, whatever kind of, if you want to call it Sarri ball, if you want to call it, Gattuso ball, now that they've kind of changed, Ancelotti kind of changed it a little bit as well. They know where to run. And the press is, and so one, we're not winning the balls back like you guys mentioned earlier. But 2, we're not really making the runs, and then we're not even precise in a sense. So it goes to shit. But we got lucky a few times. 55th minute, Chiesa with a decent probing ball. De Jong obviously makes the mistake, and again it goes over to Cuadrado, our favorite person, and he gives it over to Morata. Now, when you saw this one, obviously it goes to goal check. What were your thoughts? I saw obviously yours, Al, with the La Panquina with La Panquita, I saw the reactions. But what did you think, obviously, on that offside? I know we can get into the VAR and how it's kind of been screwing us, but what are your thoughts? It's offside, yes, but
yeah, I wasn't on La Panquina there. I think the guys that we saw, the guys
were.
It was funny. 50, yeah, that Morata one, 55th there. It's by rule offside, but it's so chintzy. It's so chintzy.
Killing us.
Like it hurts, man. It hurts. I mean, again, it's just it's by rule. I get it, and I mean, it sucks that there's no context at times to the rule, but I get it too because I mean, for God's sakes, Morata's facing our goal at the time, right? He's looking this way when the ball comes across, and his legs just trailing behind. So yeah, by rule, it's offside. It's chintzy though, and it hurts. But what do you do?
And what are you thinking up to that point? Obviously, Barca was pressing again into the 60th.
Listen. You touched on it. For me, at halftime, my notes were just toothless, completely toothless from Juve. No intensity, no drive, no sense of urgency. My biggest thing at halftime is Pirlo will be put to the test for adjustments. And man, I don't know if the guy's in his own head or if he's just so goddamn cool and relaxed all the time that he just can't act.
Yeah.
But I thought the game screamed for Ramsey for us.
Yeah.
I thought, like, get Ramsey in there. Tell Dybala to stay forward. I know, like I said, when I say these things about Kulusevski, I'm not shitting on Kulusevski. I like Kulusevski. But he was lost in this one. And he was struggling as far as touches went, passing. He was one of the guys that was off. I know there was other guys that were off, but he was significantly off. Dybala was trying. He got into good areas actually too.
Right.
But for me, I don't know, who do you have more faith in turning a game around or being a game breaker? Right now, I wouldn't put Kulusevski in there. So I would have left Dybala in there. I would have put Ramsey in there just because Kulusevski was noticeably struggling. The only way I said I would have kept Kulusevski in is because we rendered Chiesa useless in this one. You could have made the argument to move Kulusevski to that left wing back. He actually played well there when we did put Kulusevski there, either the match before or cup prior. But I thought the game screamed for Ramsey. I was extremely disappointed that we hit 60 minutes and Pirlo hasn't not only put a player change, but he also hasn't changed what we're seeing on the no direction. He did. None of it came to fruition because it literally looked just as bad second half as it did the first. It was upsetting, man. I put more on Pirlo than I did the players, to be honest, and that was just me. That was my assessment. I gave Pirlo a complete failure on this match, man. No adjustments, no nothing, no changing. And again, you don't have to be a legend like Pirlo to see what wasn't working. Try something. Try and help your team. Try and turn it around. To get nothing was extremely disappointing.
Yeah, because on the screen too, they showed the amount of passes, and we're about 100 less than Barcelona, as well as only having about 83% pass accuracy, which obviously went up towards the end of the game when we were, we had a couple nice combos with Kulusevski, Morata. Rabiot actually had Morata laid off a ball to Rabiot when he made a run, and I mean, a little too quick. Again, the story of the whole day. But again, so we get into the kind of the meat of the last 30 minutes, like you said, not having any subs. Smart yellow from Demiral was kind of the beginning of the end because it was a 3v2 if he didn't make that. And this was kind of, like I said, the story comes down to McKennie coming on for Kulusevski in the 74th. Like you said, I agree with you. I think Ramsey, even if you don't think he's, we're looking at 15 minutes left in the game. What are you waiting for? You know, you honestly can't tell me that he's not 15. He doesn't have 15 minutes in the tank. So again, it still seemed even at the 74th as well that we still stuck in that same formation. It was essentially just Kulusevski slotting in there and trying the same thing. And you know, we have again some more chances from Barcelona. Nothing's changed. Griezmann was wide open, and it could have easily been in more goals. No consistency. Dybala's going all over the place. What else did I have here? You know, again, 83rd minute, still nothing added in. Morata to Dybala, again, nothing. But right after that, we get the Bentancur for Artur and Bernardeschi for Rabiot. And again, right before, so what happens is he tries to now go 4-3-3. At that point, I don't know if you guys noticed that. But then Demiral gets sent off. So essentially, you call it right there. James, what are your thoughts on the subs and kind of how he played everything up until that point? I mean, it kind of looked like he was trying to salvage something, and then it was too late. You get the red card, and it's over. So, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, the red card did him in. Where I was surprised was just the starting 11, where you have Kulusevski and you have Chiesa, who to me are essentially the same type of player. Why put them both on at the same time? Because now that has taken that option away from the bench. They're both pacey players. Them coming in at the 60th minute, the 75th minute, wherever minute you want to put them in, they're going to come in and they're going to drive that change of pace against a tired defender and can create something. And that's what happened with Kulusevski earlier, the game before, where he got the tying goal. He basically blew his load in the starting lineup, and he had no options afterwards. So what do you have coming off the bench? You have Ramsey, who is not going to blow anyone away with his pace, and Federico Bernardeschi, who tripped over himself and fouled the guy in the box and gave Messi a penalty shot.
Well, like I was saying, like I thought it was okay because he was looking like he did change it to 4-3-3. It's just unfortunate, you know, Demiral has a Danilo moment, so to speak, where he reaches in when he shouldn't. Like I said, it's a learn. I'm not trying to crucify. He had a bad game, in my opinion. There's a lot to learn. Now, I know a lot of people are thinking he's at the Chiellini level, like the Chiellini prime level. I think he's got a little ways to go before we start crowning anyone. But I mean, maybe if you're looking at Chiellini now, okay, fine. But it's and then you have Bernardeschi, who, what are you doing? You trip on the guy's foot and then push him down. I'm like, I look at the replay and like first I thought he just cleared him out, like cleared his legs out. And then you see the replay and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? Like you can't even foul the guy right. So
but what do you do with Bernardeschi now?
He is a player
who has lost.
He's gone. Get him off my
right?
team.
So
Bernardeschi,
you can't sell him because you overpaid for him. What did they pay? 40
Give
million?
him away.
You can't sell him without taking the loss.
Okay, so Bernardeschi steps on the pitch, and immediately my dad will say, "Ma chiuda sta cazzo televisione." Okay, that's the first words out of his mouth every time he sees Bernardeschi. Shut it off. The game's over. I can't see it. It's a highlight reel of errors, man. It's unbelievable. This guy. He's like the guy that plays on your men's league team.
Yeah.
That's sitting on the bench. That's always saying, hey, "Man, why am I not getting minutes?" Oh, fuck.
I think we all know.
And the thing with Bernardeschi, and this is what makes it so frustrating for. I know I spoke about it on Al's cast before. Was he looked like this bright star? He was on an under-21 team. He looked good. They gave him the 10 on the 10-1 team. He looked good in Fiorentina. That first year at Juve, he was so, he wasn't lights out, but he had a decent decent year. He scored a big goal against Fiorentina off a free kick, and you're like, this is this breakout star. And as Juventini, the Azzurri is built around us. We need that good young Italian guy to build around. And once Marquise was gone, like I really want the first 2 jerseys I got the next 2 years were his jerseys. I want my money back. I mean, like
Bernardeschi kits?
Jesus Christ.
Bernardeschi kits.
2!
Jesus. That might be a revoking of the podcast privileges.
Federico, I'm gonna go get them taken off and put Chiesa on them.
Fuck, man.
Turn the 3s into 8s and make Bernardeschi bruschetta or something. I don't know.
Bruschetta. But that's the thing, right? And that's why Chiesa has gotten all this hate. Because he could be part 2 of it.
Yeah, well,
I honestly don't believe that. I don't think he will.
It's a different player.
I've always liked Chiesa as a player. For me, he's just a prototypical winger. And when I heard about him coming as a wingback, I'm just thinking, Jesus Christ, we have that. We have a winger who we've turned into a right wingback as it is. So now we're going to invest in another one. And it's just, I mean, all 3 of us have always talked about this with Juve. It's like a couple steps forward, and you always have that hole in your roster, in your lineup, where you're like, that's going to be the one that bites us in the ass. Now, I have faith in Chiesa. I think he's a hell of a player. I've always said his price tag's too high. The terms for this deal were good, and it is going to be a purchase because there's no way that those incentives won't be hit. So it will end up in a deal. But to get him and to offset it that way was good in my opinion, and I don't have any doubts in him. I think he'll be good for us as long as we can figure out how to utilize him properly. But man, we saw it in that one match. You get him 1v1, man. He's a dangerous player.
Exactly. This is where I think he comes into value is if we do go to that 4-3-1, 4-3-3. The ball with Morata, the false 9 doesn't work. The ball has got to drop into the wing and then kind of knowing him, he kind of drops into more of a Trequista role. But then he's the sub, and Chiesa comes on, and it goes to a traditional 4-3-3 as your option off the bench. With that being said, though, we already had that type of player in Kulusevski.
Yeah.
So it's where do you fit him? And I think that's the whole issue is how do we get the best formation for who our players are? And I think you need a A and a B option.
Well, exactly. I think this is what we've actually been looking for, and we know when we said depth all these times in the restart coming back from COVID, this is what you want to have, because when you have the 4-2-3-1, you can go, Ronaldo on the left, Dybala in the middle, Morata up top. If you want to do Chiesa or Kulusevski, if you want to do 4-3-3, same thing. You can move these pieces around. Whoever you want to start, whoever is more fit, whoever is on form, it's a possibility with those 2 options. But yeah, no, the only thing that worried me about Chiesa is having Bernardeschi. I said, why are we bringing another guy in? You're just kind of, now it's, okay, we have a guy that's useless that can be, selling beers at the fucking stadium for all I care. If he wants to paint the lines, he can do that next if he wants. But no, he's done for me, man. But so, yeah, that's the only thing I worried about. You're spending all this. Obviously, it wasn't up front, which I liked, but again, it's we don't want to get into transfer saga, because if we do, it'll be another 3 hours of all the mistakes we made and who we kept and who we did. But let's get into the next segment. Obviously, best players, worst player, 3 up, 3 down. For me, I think it's pretty simple. I would have to put Demiral, Cuadrado, and Bernardeschi, even Bernardeschi with only playing like 10 minutes. I still think he's in the worst. What do you guys think?
Bernardeschi, I hope, can actually play the goddamn guitar, and it's not just for Instagram photos, because he's going to need to find a job after this.
Oh man, I don't know how Eric does it. I don't know how he
That
does
I'll
it.
give him props. He sticks to
I
his.
don't know.
It's
Hey,
blind. Man. It's blind. That guy, you can't defend Bernardeschi anymore, man. Like it's just what's left for him. He's gonna be
well,
goalkeeper.
exactly.
The last
Exactly.
position for him to try. He's failed at everything.
James, how about you? Who do you think? Anyone was worse or slightly less, slightly worse, slightly better than how I rated them?
I'm trying to like I was like, okay, was Corrado that bad? And then I went,
I think he
yeah,
was.
yeah, he was. Yeah.
He
So
was beaten
like,
about 17 times that game.
it was those three. Yeah.
I honestly, I didn't feel as frustrated with Quadrado. Earlier, you mentioned that flop. It was embarrassing, but when you watch it back, the guy's got zero options, man. He's got
Oh
zero
yeah.
options so many times, and this is why, like again, I'm really starting to come down. Whether fans think it's too much on Pirlo or whatnot, but he's got to figure it out. I mean, Quadrado, this is now an ongoing thing, even dating
Yeah.
back to last year. How many times does Quadrado get the ball out on the side? He's got zero options. And we want to rag on Dybala for not being close to
True.
Morata, but the fucking mids weren't options for Quadrado either in this one. He literally got the ball out on the flank and there was nothing. Dybala dropping now and then, yeah, like I mean, he's trying to show because there's nothing going on. Dybala's not going to win a foot race against Oreo. There's got wheels, that kid
Right.
that stepped in, but he's not going to win a foot race. So if we pump the ball up, he's not going to be able to do anything. Morata was even struggling. And I mean, do we really want to get into a match with Barcelona where our best option is route one the
Right.
entire game? I mean, Dybala was trying to do what Dybala does,
Yeah.
but him going up against Morata wasn't going to fix anything because
Yeah.
we couldn't get the ball up there properly and the support was nowhere to be found. It just structurally Pirlo just didn't have he wasn't pulling the strings properly. In
Yeah.
my opinion, at half he should have had some kind of answer, and
Yeah.
the fact that there was nothing there was brutal. So Quadrado, I mean, I wasn't as frustrated. Demirol was poor. I saw a lot of people beating up on Rabiot, and I thought he was okay. I didn't have problems with Rabiot, but I saw him take a lot of heat, which I thought was unwarranted. Dybala was bad, in my opinion.
Yeah.
But again, I just don't put it all on these guys. Kulishevsky was bad too, but again, for me, Pirlo got the lowest rating because he didn't help the guys
That's
out
a
or make
that's a
any
good point.
shifts to help Kulishevsky, help Dybala, help Quadrado, who kept getting the ball with zero options. I rated Pirlo the worst.
That's a good point, actually. Yeah. No, for me, Cuadrado was just defensively. I just think he made
Yeah,
way
fair
too.
enough. Yeah.
Offensively, I think he was fine, which is always the case,
Yeah.
in my opinion. Like I have no problem with what he does on the offensive side. It's just he gets burnt. Like I swear it was 4 or 5. I'm like, come on, like you got to do better than that, especially against this team that can burn us. But and then who do you think did well? For me, I know Morata. I think he had the chances. I think he would have liked to have been outside for all three of, or onside for all three of those. I think Danilo was, was strong. You didn't really see, and then I think Chiesa, was trying. And I mean, if you want to throw someone in there, maybe you throw him. In terms of the situation at fourth, I think you got to go Frabotta and Danilo. I think that's your best bet, and then Alexandro to step in there because he's the best. But yeah, guys, any thoughts on who you thought were your best players in the game? Just quickly.
Yeah, I have Morata as he was the standout. I mean, not too often you score 3 goals and they don't count. So, he was getting himself in the positions, tippy toe little one here and there, they would have counted for us. So you gotta get yourself in the right spots to create.
Right.
And he did that. I also thought he did a very good job on the hold up plays where he would hold it up, drop it to Rabiot. Rabiot would come up with a good run. So he was my standout of everybody on the field.
Right.
Attack, he made a few good ones. He got lucky, he was unlucky on the goal. I mean, nobody in the world would have stopped that one. So
No.
you can't blame him on that one. And then on the penalty against Messi,
Good luck.
what more can you do, right? So, would he have been the best? He wasn't the worst. Put it like
Fair
we
enough.
didn't lose
Fair
because of attack. And then the other guy that I thought was, Chiesa was running, and he was doing a press, and that's what you need. We need to, if we're going to, I think, and this is where I think it's unique compared to all these other coaches that we've ever seen. Nobody's ever had their thesis released.
Right.
So I think we all kind of read that thesis and expected this glory ball that we're going to go see. Where, hey, I don't have the ball. We're all going to press. Not FIFA. Players get tired.
True.
Right? So, and I think he's got to figure out what the proper mix there is. And, when I was watching that first half, that first 10 minutes, I felt we were pressing. But then we just ran out of gas, right? So I think it's got to be a decision. Do we decide that we're going to press all game?
Yeah.
Do we decide we're only going to press when we're down a game? Do we decide to go full Allegri where we got 11 guys behind the ball on the defensive zone, and especially against Barcelona? I mean, when we beat them, when we making our way to the Champions League final, we had the back. We had that back three that was said, bring that pressure on. We're going to absorb it. I don't think right now we're structurally able to say, bring that pressure on and we'll counter you.
No.
I
think the only way you play with a 3-5-2 is if you have prime Lichtsteiner and prime Asamoah. And that's it. Those guys are going to go up and down, not break a stride, and that's it.
Does that change when we get Sandro back?
I don't think so. I think Sandro's better defensively. I don't think you're getting all the way up and all the way down, and not have a bead of sweat on their forehead. Maybe Sandro because he's white, but anyways.
Hopefully he can regain his form because he was his best when we played that formation.
Yeah, I think Sandro now. I think he's got to get fit, and then we'll see what happens. But I think you can always count on him on the back end.
Like defensively is not an issue with him.
That's why I'm okay with having that, because you're going to get Cuadrado going up, and that's just how I see it. So I don't mind shoring up that back end, because again, with this press and pushing and being more open, more passes, you need something on the back end, and that's why I never had a problem with him being the way he was. Plus, you got Ronaldo on that side. It can't
be so one-sided though. Like, it's just like, you hold one of those guys back, and then all of a sudden, like, even at the start of this season, holy shit, I saw us switch the field more than I have in the past 2 seasons, and now all of a sudden that's gone too, because it's like we just predictable, and just like it looks like we just keep feeding the same spot over and over and over, and I'm like, guys, like, it's got to be more collective. You talk about the press early on, James, and then all of a sudden it fades, but it's like it's not consistent. It's like, you got Chiesa running his ass off, Morata will have his spot, but then it breaks apart with either Dybala, Kulusevski, or Rabiot, and then the defense is like playing safe and not supporting them as well, so they had these holes. And Roma chewed us up in the space between our D and our mids because our defense didn't support them with a high line. And it was just like, guys, you either do it together as a team or you don't do it at all. And it's frustrating.
How many times last year did you see Ronaldo screaming at the guys, why aren't you coming up? And he did it those first 2 games. The Roma game especially, I remember watching him just like, where are you? Where are you?
Yeah.
And then even this game, I saw Morata doing that.
Yeah.
But I believe it was to Dybala. It's like, why aren't you pressing? And that's the problem, is if Dybala is dropping back that far, and then, so he's now dropped back, you've now done a long ball that gone nowhere. Now, how do we get that ball back The thesis says we're going to go do as much as possible to get it back as short as possible. Well, someone's got to show the thesis to the front three players to let them know.
Well, the problem is too, again, and it's in his thesis too. He wants this fluidity. He wants this fluidity amongst his players. How can you consistently press when your players aren't in the same spot?
Yeah,
you can't. That's why there's this breakdown, and Morata thinks there's going to be somebody there, but guess what? In this fluidity, all of a sudden he's on your left, and you think he's going to be on your. It's just there's too much confusion. That's why I think Pirlo needs to just get it simple. Hey, this is where you guys play. This is what I want you to do. This is what I want you to do. And in defense, just fucking drop straight back. None of this. My TQ's got to drop over to the right wing. Like, what the fuck are we doing here?
Yeah. And this is where not having a training camp hurts them. And where let's keep it simple. Because I remember start of 2011-12 season, Juve was in Toronto. And I was lucky that I got to be in the practice field. And that was Conte's first year. And I remember he stopped play every freaking 5 seconds. And he was positioning Vidal. He was positioning everybody. This is where I want you. This is where I want you. Pirlo hasn't had that time. He hasn't had that opportunity. So now you got to rely on your continuity of these guys. So majority of our midfield has already played together. So Rabiot and Bentancur have played together already. Don't make them do things that they're not used to. Keep it like that. Next time we have these international breaks, use it as training to get that done. Napoli.
Yeah.
They're quarantined. The first game back, they look fantastic. Gattuso, they were still able to train. Gattuso used it as a mini training camp. So I'm not saying everybody get COVID and not travel, but take advantage of these times that you have and use it on those players. And
I think you've got a couple different personalities too, right? And I mean, Gattuso fits the mold of a Conte in the sense that it's their way, and I see Pirlo as more of that player's guy, and I think he's got a lot of trust in his guys, and it might be biting him in the fucking ass because I think he's given them a little too much on the leash there, and I think it might be hurting him because Conte doesn't give a fuck about the name on your kit. It's his way, and I could totally see him shutting the goddamn training down every 5 seconds until they get it right. And I don't see Pirlo as that guy. I see him as being more like, allowing guys to express themselves because I see what kind of player he was. And I see him maybe sharing ideas, with guys like individually and whatnot. But I don't know. It's strange, man. And it's weird to see it look more promising at the start. And then again, it shifted completely. It shifted completely, and it's bizarre, man. And this is the thing too: is when we questioned it multiple times on this pod, is him over analyzing things. And if it wasn't broke, don't fix it. Right. And he tinkered. He had a good thing going at the start, and it felt like, okay, this is good, but then it was a tinker. Then again, it was tinkering, and then it was more tinkering, and you're like, holy fuck, man, you've lost it. Now the wheels are off the wagon, man. It's like, man, if it isn't broken, don't fix it. And it was like, why are you trying to reinvent the wheel? Like, you had a good match, and then it was like something completely different. I'm like, man, stop overcoaching it. Just put the guys the same way you had them in that lineup. Let them continue to get that chemistry because you don't have that training camp. And I understand where some fans think he has to experiment early because he hasn't had that training camp. But the thing is like, man, when you see it fail, he just kept digging and digging and digging. And he still hasn't gone back to what worked from the get-go. It's like he's still digging. And I'm like, man, go back to the way it was if you really believe in that system. The 3-4-1-2, and everybody drops straight back defensively. keep your one guy on top. You try and work your counters. Why all of a sudden no faith in Frabotta? Because you're trying to get Chiesa on there and Kulishevsky in there. Frabotta played well. Use Chiesa as a super sub. Use Kulishevsky as a super sub, like James touched on. Stop digging the hole and just getting deeper, man. Like, go back to what worked. You have to have a little bit of balance there. We have too many offensive guys sometimes in a lineup, and it looks fucked up.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we did a pretty damn good job at assessing that game. And now we're gonna obviously get into the post-match comments. But before that, check this guy out. I always forget to say at the beginning of the fucking podcast. At all UVCast. Check out the podcast. I'm sure you know it already because this guy's he's a superstar already.
No.
At Jimmy_Stallion, another great guy to talk to on Twitter. And obviously at Striped Hearts. Guys, get your merch. I think it's how many days we got left? A few days left before those designs go?
Yeah, well, all of a sudden I had some people go into panic mode, so I'm going to extend it for the weekend for this batch of designs. And then we've got some deadly stuff coming out next week. And then the stickers and the vinyl wall decals will be coming out next week too.
Beautiful, beautiful. And guys, if you're still here, please drop a like, smash the subscribe. Let us know you're here in the comments. And like I said, we'll get into the post-match. I think it was pretty straightforward. It seemed like it was just like your typical after a loss post-match. We're going to use this game to grow and improve. And we're playing against a big team like Barca. We're under construction. The only thing, like we mentioned in before we actually started recording, that I think is scary is he was complaining about obviously not having options and players not being, and you don't want to hear that. Like you guys were just saying a few moments ago, I think after Sampdoria, which was, sure, Sampdoria was laying down, but I think we had something good. The next day, it was like, okay, we're going to keep that lineup. Within like 2 days, it was like the script was flipped and we're doing fucking loop-de-loops and we're going to try this, that, and then you saw what happened against Roma. So it's like, again, like you said, keep it simple. I hope he's not going to be using this option thing now. Like, I don't know what your thoughts, if you want to tell the crowds out there what you thought about what he said with players coming back soon and, guys having to play 90 minutes twice in a week. These are professionals, right? You hope, obviously, again, it's COVID. We know that guys are not going to be as fit. They had a shortened preseason. We've mentioned it a million times. But, we're not in that same grind we were 3 months ago. We're in a different world now. So your guys' thoughts.
And that's just part of his man management as well. One of the things that's now been COVID adapted is you have 5 subs. Yes, you still got to take it within 3 times during the game, but use it to your advantage. This week we have a lesser team on Sunday, and then a lesser Champions team on Wednesday, and then another game. Use your 5 subs. It's as simple as that. Right. There's no reason when you have the 4 midfielders that are essentially the same 4 midfielders that we have, stylistic-wise. So Bentancur, Arthur, Ramsey, and
Rabiot.
Who am I missing? Rabiot. The 4 of them. Pick 2 of them. You 2 play together. You 2 play together. You're the next pair. All right? You start this. You 2 start this game. You 2 start this game. I'm going to sub you in at 75 minutes, 60 minutes. Have that fluidity. Keep them fresh. Your wing backs. Fortunately, you can't do that because you got Bernardeschi.
Well, apparently he thinks that he's going to regain his confidence and be calm and happy to play football. And Bob's your uncle, right? So
start him this weekend. Show the balls. Start him this weekend. It's a lesser team. Here you go. Fed, you got the start. Here you go. Yeah. If he completely F's up this weekend,
just give him the PK.
That's it.
Any PKs Bernardeschi has to take.
He would roof it. Well, he would pull a Zaza.
If that's the case, then I would just Him and Khedira, I'd punt those two clowns anywhere. I'd say, name where the hell you want to go. You want to go to Dubai? I'll get the fucking plane ticket ready for you. Just leave. I don't want to see you anymore.
I'll carry them on my back just to see them go. Wouldn't even fly them. I'd just be like, I'll jump on my back. I'll carry you.
No, I'll fly them. The quicker, the better.
So we see now with Sorry. Sorry if I'm jumping ahead on you, Dan.
No, go over.
Sorry looks like he will rescind the remaining contract to be able to go sign with. It sounds like it's going to be Fiorentina, but with another team. We knew this was going to happen because a guy his age isn't going to sit around. He still wants to work, so you knew it was going to happen. This is where I am freaking shocked with Khedira.
Wow, hold your horses on that one.
There's not too many other. He had offers. If he still, as a player, still wanted to play, why did you not rescind the contract, go play somewhere? Marquisio did this. Marquisio did it. Marquisio loved the team enough that he rescinded his contract to go somewhere. But
what a fucking club.
For whatever freaking reason, still thinks he's got something to offer and still thinks he's going to play his way on the team. The way I see it is he's sitting in, he's going to practice, he's going to get his $6 million. But at the end of the year, who the hell is going to sign him? That's where
he'll go to wherever.
It makes no sense for him as a player, as a professional. Why didn't I know? So I'm hoping that in January he finally sees the light and decides to leave, because we did the exact same thing to Mandzukic last year, where we essentially froze him out and then forced him to leave in January. But he had that pride as a player that I'm going to go play somewhere. I don't know if Khedira is going to do that.
You're bringing up deep cuts, James. You're bringing up deep cuts.
I was just going to say, I fucking completely forgot what the hell topic we were on, because I'm just getting fucking fuming inside from these names being mentioned and all this talk. But Pirlo's words, that's what the hell we were talking about. So this is the thing that really, really pissed me off about Pirlo's words. He said two things that struck out to me. Dan, you mentioned the one, which was, hope to recover these other players, because at the moment he has no other solutions. That part is so fucking frustrating. But the part he said before that pissed me off even more, when he says our positioning is poor. And I'm like, you motherfucker. Whose fault is that? And James, you said it perfectly.
Tudor.
And I think back to the days when I was playing competitively. Your positioning, okay? You talked about Conte and fucking blowing that whistle 5 seconds. Hey, directing. We went into a halftime of a match we had 0 attempts on target with a team that had Neto in net, for Christ's sake. And we come out second half and we get 0 shots on target. And then he talks about how poor the positioning was, that we saw worse in the first half, barely change in the fucking second. And I'm just like, dude, this is on you. To say you have no other solutions. Okay, these players that come back, great individual players that will be coming back. Pirlo, your system is failing. It's failing. You can put whatever piece of the fucking puzzle you want in there. It will not click, because it just doesn't fucking work. It's not working, man. Positionally, we are a mess, and that's not on talent. That's on the direction. That's on what he's trying to do, and factoring in who he's playing against, how they're going to be. I thought Rabiot and Bentancur, for fans to shit on those two guys, were left out to dry, man. What did you want those two guys to do when that midfield is fucking looking like the days of Xavi and Iniesta, for Christ's sake, and it's a 17-year-old and frickin' De Jong, and I'm like, you guys, well, get the ball back. Like, let's go. And it's two guys chasing. I see way too much ball chasing. The position's a mess. And for him to say that, I just think, holy shit, man. If I'm a player on your team, I'm actually pissed off that you said that. That you say you have no other solutions at the moment, and it's going to rely on these guys.
Yeah.
What happened when fucking Sarri comes in and he can't get his system through. It doesn't matter. We have Cristiano Ronaldo, Dybala, all these guys. You have to make it work with the guys you have. But when it's broken positionally and we can all see it clear as day, fuck, that's on you, Pirlo. And that's why, going back to previously, I scored him the worst.
Yeah, I agree. I have to agree with that 100%. One of the things Del Piero brought up, obviously 3 red cards in 7 games. Could be, obviously, I think the Chiesa one was harsh. I think a lot of people could say agree with that. Again, this one I think was a little stupid from Demiral. I think he's got to be a little smarter than that. And then who was the other one? Who was the first one we got?
Rabiot.
Rabiot, yeah. So again, something Pirlo could have done about it. So I mean, hopefully, again, it just looks worse than it actually is, and this doesn't become a problem. But that needs to be looked at as well, because we're not going to be having, like you said, Demiral next game. I mean, who knows what's gonna? I mean, I know it is next week, so we should have.
Well, it is
a
Ferenc
team,
Sperossi out there. I probably fucking butchered that name, but however the hell you say it. But I mean, honestly, this is another part that frustrates me. To say you have no other solutions when you're pulling up draws against Crotone and Hellas Verona. I mean, do we need to play De Ligt and Ronaldo against Crotone and Hellas Verona to get results?
Exactly.
Come on.
Exactly. And it's the same. You gotta keep it the same. You know, you were saying the same thing about Sarri, or if you say it about Allegri, you say you got to keep that same lane. And that's, I don't care if you want to criticize or not. It's just as long as you're staying consistent. I hate people that are like, obviously Pirlo is a legend, and what he's done for us. But again, that's kind of why I was scared bringing him in this year, is because now you're kind of testing a line that. Obviously Conte was a little bit different because it was after, we were trying to do anything to get back to winning. So really, we're in a completely different situation. But yeah, guys, thank you for those comments. We're going to get to something kind of new, pretty simple. We're going to go back and forth. We're going to go James, and we're going to go Al, then we're going to go James and Al, and it's going to be the quickfire round, and we're going to get some nice, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire edit music put into the background once this is all done. But so the first one's going to be pretty simple. We want to keep these short as you can, either one word or, sometimes you might want to go, you'll see what words I'll be throwing out there, but you might want to go on a little bit of a rant, which is fine. But anyways, the first one, Forza. James, go ahead.
Forza Juve. Juve sempre.
Look at that. Beautiful. Simple. Al?
Oh. Forza Bianconeri.
Beautiful. No, you can be the same. Don't worry. It's not like you got to be like one or the other.
Oh, I thought we were going back and forth. It's always Forza Juve, man.
Inter.
Forza Pizzolio.
Inter.
Is that the Al first?
No. Same order. Go ahead, James.
Hey, man. Oh, Inter is merda.
Beautiful.
I was trying to figure out who you're talking about. Merda is all I know. All I know them as.
Milan.
Maldini.
Okay. Repeat that, sorry.
Stuck in the past.
Beautiful. VAR.
Oh shit.
Al.
Morata.
Serie A.
Vecchio.
Say no to racism.
Good point. Champions League group stage.
You know what? Entertaining.
When Juve plays, beer's not strong enough.
Pirlo.
Mastro.
Class.
4 at the back.
4 at the back. Allegri.
Okay, that's a good answer.
It's coming back.
Agnelli.
Rebirth.
At times, unnecessarily ruthless.
Good answer. Dybala.
Joya.
Underappreciated.
Adios. Khedira.
Oh,
Selfish.
I can't take him seriously anymore as a
Pezzo di
footballer.
merda.
Yeah. Testa cazzo.
Cristiano Ronaldo.
Gold.
Yeah, freak.
3 at the back.
BBC.
Yeah, flashbacks. It's flashbacks of BBC, buddy.
Team needs.
Right back.
Yeah, fullbacks.
Trophies. This season.
Coppa Italia.
You sound like Albert now.
1.
1. Okay.
Pick up
Oh,
the
that's-
Italia.
Well, that's it, guys. Thank you for joining the Quickfire Round.
That was fun, man. I like it.
Yeah, you got to spice it up. I wanted to do something different for this one. I mean, I'd like to hear your opinion, and we'll be changing these, one word topics depending on what this is, the inaugural. So we'll see what happens. What we'll be adding in the past. Maybe it'll be Wanda. Maybe it'll be Icardi. Maybe it'll be CL winners. I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. But
Wanda.
yeah,
Strega.
there you go. And start it. But anyways, guys, we play Spezia next. I mean, I don't know what you guys expect out of that. Just briefly, what do you see going forward? Apparently rumored to still have 3 at the back. But anyways, what do you expect? You see Ronaldo playing, and how much do you want him to play? Just briefly.
It's an away game, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So typically, Ronaldo on these kind of games, he normally doesn't travel.
Good luck with that.
He's gonna. Hey, he's missed what, 15 days, 16 days.
We have no other solutions, though, Jimmy.
He's got goals to catch up on, right?
Yeah.
So games like this is ones where, when he was in Real Madrid, he would light up a guy for like 4 or 5. So I kind of, it just hasn't happened in Serie A, right?
Yeah.
It's a different league. So does he come back guns blazing and tells Piero, play me? And then does Piero have the balls to say, okay, I'll start you, but 60 minutes, you're coming off to be ready for Wednesday?
That's what I'm waiting for. That's the first moment I'm waiting for, to be honest, to see if things have actually changed.
And then what do you line up with Ronaldo? Do you go back to the 3-5-2 like you did against Sampdoria, put him with Morata? Do you go back with a 3-4-3-3, and then put him with Morata and Dybala? Or
they got a 3-4-1-2, and he's going to play up top as a striker, and he's going to roam wherever he wants to go.
Either way, like this game here, it should be,
we hope,
one where you use your 5 subs. Get them in early, get the guys ready for Wednesday, and do the same thing on Wednesday, because this game Wednesday is essentially the weakest team in the group.
Right. Well,
it should be 3 points.
We know about the weakest teams, and we know about the weakest teams.
I think,
let them light them up early, get them off, get them rested, because then we got Lazio the following week.
Yep.
I said, when we were waiting the test results going into Barca, and I knew it was going to be highly unpopular, but I said, you know what, given the way this team has been playing, I don't know if you rush them back in for that match, because, And I said it for the same reason that I knew was going to be unpopular, which was Bonucci not wanting in the lineup. But I said for the sake of familiarity with this team that's been playing so broken, I don't know if you just do that and throw him it and risk it. And I mean, I know he's a freak and all this, and everybody's like, no, that's a no-brainer. You play him. I get it. But at the same time, if he goes out there and shits the bed because he hasn't played for a while, like we're risking a game against Barca. Dybala was clearly unfit. Like it's a tough one. I said the arguments there to maybe not. That's all I was saying is maybe you don't, because at the same time, we got to remember this guy's like, fuck, he's 35. I get it. He's a freak and whatnot. But we did see him come back after a couple layoffs so far in his tenure with Juve. And it was a little off. It was a
10
little off.
shots.
So, you know.
10 shots it took in that first game.
Yeah.
10 shots against Sampdoria. And that was about, what, 1 month? Guys, and I got shredded for this. Colin Power, how's it going? Hope you're having a good day. I've been around for a couple of years. You know, I know quite the contrary what you guys think, but, you know, it's not worth it. Like, even they're freaking out over Barcelona. And it's like, why? Okay, he goes on, gets a knock, whatever, or is not performing. Then you got more storylines that you got to go. Like, let's say that the game could have went exactly the same way with Ronaldo on the pitch against Barcelona. Yeah. And now you have more headlines and more shit and more, you know, stories, but Ronaldo and not gelling and this. It's not worth it. What's the point?
Yeah, the thing is like I just, for me, it was like I look at it and again, it's the same thing. I'm remaining consistent with my belief in the fact that we do not need De Ligt and we do not need Ronaldo to beat Crotone, Verona, these teams. Barcelona, obviously much better, but they were ripe for the picking, man. I didn't think we had to play them to get that victory. Does it tip the scales more in your favor? Yeah, but at the same time, do you want to put him at risk? He's been off for a bit. Like, I don't know. I just said the argument could be there. If he played, great. It's not a big deal. Some people just took it and blew it up. It is what it is. It's just opinions here. The thing is, this match, I think even with Ferencvárosi coming up midweek, I think you give him minutes. You don't give him 90, but I think you give him minutes so that he can get some timing with the guys. Formation-wise, I think being the fact it's Spezia, you have to, if you're Pirlo, go in a 4-3-3 or a 4-2-3-1. This is the match to make the change if there ever was one and see what can happen. And put the guys in their true positions and see what can happen, man. I would be perfectly fine if Dybala's one of those three in behind Morata with Ronaldo on the left and put Kulusevski on the right. Put Chiesa on the right. Have your back four set up and in the middle, mix it up and get your Rabiot with Arthur. And let's see what can happen. Just do it. It's Spezia, for Christ's sake.
Right.
But if he goes out in the same way, Pirlo, I would see it as a wasted opportunity to try something new and see what can happen. Yeah. I think he has to. I think this is to make that. If Dybala doesn't play there, this is the crazy thing about this. There's stuff going out left and right, like all these rumors. Now all of a sudden Agnelli is actually watching the training sessions and keeping a close eye on Pirlo. All of a sudden Dybala is going to be benched because he was poor for 2 matches after being off. So it's just like, guys, come on. Like, there's so much going on, right? I think this is the match Pirlo needs to experiment. And he's got to find something better because what he was doing is a little too lopsided.
I think I'm gonna have to take that what you said though and probably like copyright that. Just opinions, bro, and that's gonna sell off the shelves because Twitter, it is what it is. But last 2 things before I let you guys go. Obviously, we had the first 3 games. We're supposedly, you know, decent opponents. Next 3 were supposed to be the 3 promotion teams. We saw how those last 2 games went. November is going to be a key month. We got Spezia, Ferencváros, Lazio, Cagliari, Ferencváros at home, and Benevento. 4 of those games on the road. How many points are we taking out of those 6 games?
Theoretically, we should take them all.
I think we're gonna throw a draw in there. I think we're gonna go. I think that this next game coming on the 4th on the road against that Hungarian team, we're gonna draw that game, and then Ronaldo's gonna lose his shit, and we're just gonna smash Lazio in the following weekend. I think is what's gonna happen. And then we'll win at home against Ferencváros, and then Benevento on the road. I think we should have no problem beating them. But go ahead, Al.
And we are that Dynamo Kiev victory was the first one in like 6 away matches that we actually got a victory. And to be honest, I mean, it was a comfortable win, but we didn't really go lights out by any means. I don't know. I think if I look at those matches, if I had to guess, I'm going to say somewhere around 11 points we'll probably get.
Oh, okay. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah.
So you think we'll lose twice, possibly?
Possibly.
Because you could do. Yeah.
So with that being said, Pirlo doesn't make it to Christmas.
Ooh,
hot takes. Hot takes.
You know what? I think it's fair to say, should that happen, he's in the hot seat. There's a lot saying that he's in the hot seat right now as it stands. And you know what? Everybody wants to talk about how bad and how obsessed Agnelli is with being the guy that gets that 10th straight. That's like leads a team to that 10th straight. Well, shit, man. How much more can we give up in the race before it's time to alarm? And there's already the rumors of Allegri fucking getting tuned up.
Please.
And I honestly, like...
Don't do it to me.
If you're going to make a move and pull a trigger on Pirlo, I think at what point do you actually commit to making change?
Yeah, well...
You know what I mean? So it's like, we go back to the other ways, and what do we go back... How far do we set ourselves back if Allegri comes in and he can't even do it?
Well, exactly.
That's
the exact reason why I don't touch Allegri. If I'm going to go with someone, I'm bringing in Poch.
Yeah,
because he still hasn't picked up. He still hasn't.
But that's the thing. Why hasn't Poch like?
Because he's probably enjoying life.
Yeah, exactly, right. So everybody's been having this. Poch is out there. He's out there. This is the big. If he was that great, someone would have given the money.
But the problem is that
I don't think
you got to remember COVID, man. Like the revenues aren't coming in. It's not like it is. Like look, we owe Sarri 5.5 for the next 2 years, barring whatever gets settled, which hasn't been. Which I forgot to mention before when you brought it up. We haven't settled, so don't think he's going to Fiorentina anytime soon. Because even Comiso's talked about waiting until the last minute. So that's not a done deal. So we have, what is that? 11 million still on the books. Yeah. And Poch was looking at, well, I mean, again, there was rumors. It could have been 12, maybe it was 10, maybe it was 15. Who knows? Then Allegri, what's Allegri going to want? Is he going to want 6 million? Is he going to want 8 million? So it's a risky situation. I was shocked how fast, again, we've all talked about this, how fast he went to Pirlo. But yeah, this...
But that's it though, man. That's literally it. We paid Sarri during his sabbatical. We still paid him. Or no, sorry, Allegri. We still paid Allegri.
Yeah, 1 year. Yeah.
We had to pay the remainder of Sarri, and all those players come into play too. Not being able to move Higuain, Matuidi, not getting anything for Mandzukic, Khedira sitting there sucking in 6 mil. A big part of the reason Pirlo's there is the fact that he costs us 1 million.
Yeah. Oh, exactly. And that's why another, like, look at all those numbers you brought up, plus all those loans. I mean, we'll leave it for another episode, but just quickly, all those loans potentially coming back. Plus Valencia with Dybala. That's what I'm seeing.
Yeah.
It would have been done already. Like you mentioned.
It's gonna be a damn shame, but it
is because
it is what it is, man. I mean,
I think we'll be set back.
You could see it a mile away. They're just that's what they're going to use to write the books.
I'll throw another thing at you. Ronaldo's got one more year left.
Well, they're gonna milk that.
30 years. Does Ronaldo decide to stay if they shit the bed? I don't.
I hope not. Please
I
don't.
wouldn't.
I
I
don't
wouldn't even
see him.
extend him anyways.
No,
I know
but
exactly.
for that 1 year left, he's got 1 year left at 30 million. I don't see. From what I was hearing was, what they were budgeting was after next year.
Stai
After
sudando.
After next year, that 30 million becomes now into the pot, and they can go get another player. This is not next season, the season after, because they're not going to resign him.
So not resign him? You were saying
Not resign him, right? Because now you have that 30 million come back into your books.
But James, to look that
but
far,
that's 2 years away. If Ronaldo decides next year to say, I don't want to stay, you get that 30 million back plus whatever value you get for selling him.
Right.
Does that save Dybala?
Here's the thing, though. Here's the thing. And this is why I am, again, against moving Dybala. We have too many guys you're not seeing end value out of. Okay?
Exactly.
You have two. We have built. This is where the management flaws come into play and make the stance that you have to keep Dybala. Is this reason right here? You have all these guys with no end value, man. You're not gonna see anything out of Chiellini, out of Buffon.
No.
They're just locked in. You're gonna see it out. Bonucci's not gonna get anything at the end of his tenure. Okay, you've got Morata. We've just brought in. You're probably not gonna purchase him at that price next year. He's gone. There's nothing there. You're just spending a cheap loan, which is fine. And then you've got these guys. So you're gonna get rid of Dybala. Okay, you're gonna keep Ronaldo, who makes 30 million in wages. And then, who's going to buy him from Juve knowing that his contract ends that season? What kind of value are you going to get? And now you take this massive piece. Yeah, you're going to get your 30 million in wages, but you have now, again, rendered no value out of that. And to be honest, this is a problem I have with the current club, is that we aren't in win now mode. It makes no sense to have Ronaldo on this club at the moment, to be honest. Other than marketing and selling shit, he makes no sense being on this club. That 30 million can easily go to 3 solid players, 3 solid additions, and balance your team out way better. I get it. Cristiano's a freak. He is a GOAT. I get it. But this doesn't make sense for long-term Juve.
Exactly. It's too simple, and I don't know why Ronaldo fans can't, personally, I don't know how you can't see that. I mean, if you guys are only going to be here for so long, we have to deal with this for the next, 50, 60, 70, 80 years. We're not letting, one guy, fuck us down. Look, I don't know if it's true, but there's been some rumors that Barcelona could be going bankrupt at the beginning of next year. So again, that could be all bullshit, but it's that's a possibility. We're 90 million. If that continues, I just think, and think about it like this, James. Let's say we do extend Ronaldo. He's gonna say, okay, who are you bringing in to help me out? Because now Dybala's gone.
We're not going to extend Ronaldo. It's what happens next year. He's got the 1 year left. That's the key thing. And that's what I also think is holding up the Dybala contract.
Well,
if Ronaldo comes back and says, you know what, guys, it's been good. I've had 3 seasons with you. I want to go somewhere else.
I think he might anyway.
And remember, there's we purchased him for what, about 100 million?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So 100 million across 3 years with the amortization, you get 30 million. There's still a profit on him. Will somebody be paying 30 million for Ronaldo? I'm pretty sure they will. Somebody in China, somebody, whatever. They'll throw the money at him. So you're going to get money from that. But that's all dependent on what Ronaldo wants to do. If he, at the end of the season, and it's a shitball season, I'm saying, he says, you know what? I've now gone. This is now going to be my 4th season with 4 different coaches. I don't want to be here. Sell me. Then now you have that money to go keep the ball. But if Ronaldo comes back and says, I want to see out my contract, now
Well,
you're
that's
kind
the
of
thing.
now you're kind of going, all right, shit, I need to balance the budget. Who can I sell to make the money? Bernadeschi's going to be a loss. This guy's going to be a loss. This guy, and that's where the ball is going to be an unfortunate guy. Where if he's coming and saying, well, you know what, I want 15 million, it's not going to happen. Then and that's going to affect it.
You'd be all for Ronaldo signing. You'd be all for it, and I was 100%. But what I wasn't for was the club losing their fucking spine afterwards.
True. I agree 100%.
And that's just the thing, man. I don't give a shit who you are. And I know who's going to come at me after this goes, but I don't give a shit because as a club, as Juve, as their history, when I think about the players that have played for this fucking club, man, to lose who you are as a club, and essentially if what you're saying, if there was truth to it, and this guy's like, oh, he approved of Pirlo coming in. What the fuck does that do to the other guys on the team and in there? It's just like, holy shit. Like, hey, like Ronaldo, is it cool that I'm in the dressing? Do I have to get changed out here in the tunnel by myself for fuck's sakes? Like, no. The team should always have its integrity, its structure, what it's built upon. All this shit, I hope, was always untrue when you hear about them. Oh yeah, he's got approved it, or they're going to him. He's giving the okay. Bullshit. I like
now,
to
even that
believe that
who's saying that they went to Ronaldo?
Dude,
I think it's his Ronaldo stupid accounts.
No.
I really don't think that they are going.
This is the same media stuff all over the place. And honestly, I don't know, man. Like this guy, I just look at how identity has changed, and honestly look, if you can read it all over the fucking pitch. And now when guys like even Chiellini, like he looks like he's not even like our guy anymore, like our capitano and whatnot, and it's like all fading, and it all builds around Ronaldo and Ronaldo's attitude. And when you see Ronaldo down and out in certain matches, and then all of a sudden the trickle down effect across all these other fucking players, where even Gigi, even Chiellini, they can't pick these guys up, man. I'm telling you, we live and die by Cristiano fucking Ronaldo. We are living and dying by him. We are no longer in win now mode.
No.
Like I say, you sign Cristiano Ronaldo because of who he is, was a freak, but you can never, as a club, lose your spine.
Well, what just came out recently? It's actually a perfect, it's an irony almost. What was just released about a week ago?
This pink fucking thing, this pink fucking kit.
How did the logo look? It was
kind
of
like a smudged piece of shit.
It was kind of like drooping and falling away off the crest. That's exactly like everything. It's all fading and drooping away. That perfect logo that we had on that jersey is all fucking going to shit. And that's that was the representation of that jersey. And exactly like you said, there's no one that's going to pick, and it's not a team anymore. And I've said this in the past, and I'll say it again. Teams win championships. You look at Real Madrid that won, you look at Bayern that won, you look at Liverpool that won. Every team was on at every single level, whether it's a 3-5-2, 4-4-2, 4-2-3-1, 4-3-3, whatever the fuck the formation was, didn't matter. What mattered was everybody was on, and for 4 years, for every year that Ronaldo's been here, we have not seen that. So for me, I look back and say, I agree with you, Al. I get where you're coming from when you say you have to make that deal. To be honest, if I could go back, I wouldn't have made that deal. Because now what we know in the future, Juve wasn't ready. And unfortunately, that's the way we had to go. We can't, hindsight's 2020, we can't go back. But now we got to build for the future, whether CR7 Rap Rhymes, this guy, Danny Golfer, whoever the fuck says whatever, we're going to be here at the end of the day. So we got to steer the club's got to steer the ship around. or it's going to be more misery. And what's going to happen is we're going to lose. And then I want to see what the fans are going to be saying, because we're winning now. We're still winning the Scudetto. I want to see what happens when trophies are not coming in again, because there's too many people saying doomsday this, doomsday that. You guys are overreacting, even in just little criticisms. I'm like, guys, relax. Like, we can poke at the formation. So just remember, guys, when it all goes back to shit, just remember what you're going to be saying when you're saying, you know what, maybe we should have got that midfield. You know what, maybe we should have built a team. You know what, maybe we should have got fullbacks. Look, Dybala's gone. Now Ronaldo's gone. We have no money. We're not in Champions League. We're not bringing in that same kind of... You got to now go back. Now the banter era is going to start again. So I'll tell you guys right now, prepare for it, because it's not going to be all roses. And if you don't, if the club's not going to, like, again, we can bitch and spout and say whatever the fuck we want. This is all on the club. So they know what they got to do. That's it. But again, guys, I mean, we could go on this for fucking, we could go on years on this shit, man. Talk about every damn transfer, but it's like,
dude, the money. Juve is amongst the top. Yeah, and money brought in from Champions League. Where the fuck is it going? Where has it gone?
To pay the debts. Pay the debts. Shit contracts. Like it's not easy to spend. I tell everybody wants to win the lotto. You could spend that money easily. Money comes and it goes. And when you're in you're in a $1 billion corporation, that money is going. And look, you pay $6 million. It keeps adding up, and you keep spending stupidly. And then it just snowballs on your ass. And then now you're at negative 89. I won't be shocked if UEFA comes around and says, you know what, guys, as a club, you should have been smarter. We're banning you from Champions. I would not be surprised if it continues into the following season.
Yeah. The problem is that they dropped that benchmark being set with Man City. So they really can't. Like, they can't. Yeah. I mean, they can, but it
Milan,
would be fucking bullshit.
Merda, Roma.
The thing now too is with COVID too, I think that you're going to see a lot of exceptions, because a lot of not just City, a lot of the teams, they are not getting the revenue that is going to come in from the fans. So you're losing that gate revenue. So you got to give them a break there. And then the other thing that made Juve have an advantage over the rest of City was they were one of the first teams to own the stadium. They built a freaking hotel. They built a complex. Their whole thing was the fan experience, and they were going to get the money from there.
But James, that only goes so far, man.
No, it goes so far. So you can make money.
You got to be.
You have to spend it wisely. And
no, but
we've already agreed on.
It's not even that. You got to go far in Champions, because that's where you're getting your $100 million every year.
That's the other thing. The TV revenue, the way the deal is structured in Italy, is that TV revenue. The farther you go, the more money you get. So those first couple of years where we had those good runs, we were the only Serie A team. We got the big chunk of the funds. The last 3 years we exited earlier. We got no money, right? So that's part of it. Not only is it the TV menu from that, but it's also the gate money too. So a lot of, comparing to the NHL, a lot of the NHL teams, they budget to break even, and then anything in the playoffs is bonus.
Well, like I said, things need to change. I know there's a wave in Europe, but there was NHL teams saying if we can't get even a partial season done, they're not going to be able to go a couple seasons like this. And that's like saying, let's get a 70 at 50% capacity. Again, it's tough. And not to be, like I said, the one question that I got was from Nilesh, and he says, how to manage the stress when the club you love is simply shit now. Guys, I know we're talking negative. Don't get me wrong. We have lots of room. This is 6-7 games. The sky's the limit. We have the team. We have a lot of great players. We have Ronaldo. We have Dybala. So, like I said, I know a lot of people. I've even seen some Pirlo outs, and I think that's way too far. That's somewhere I don't want to go. Not yet. But guys, there's lots to worry about. There's lots to win. This isn't over. I know Milan's is moving, but we just need some good results and to see some actual tangible changes.
I do think he's on the hot seat, though.
Oh, for sure.
I
Why?
think
Why wouldn't?
Pirlo out right now. Yeah, I think I agree with you. Is premature, but I definitely think he's
I
on the
agree.
hot seat.
I agree.
He's on the hot seat, but I just want to address something where
Go ahead,
our
Bob.
team is shit. Our team is shit. Where were you guys back in 2009, 2010? That team was shit. That team finished back-to-back seventh places. Where were you in 2006 when we won the Scudetto and then had to go back down?
I will say this: I like 2009 games better than that Barca match. Holy fuck!
I give
True.
you that. I give you. We have Filippo Melo in our midfield.
Okay,
So,
relax there, James.
Calm,
Relax.
comma, people, comma.
Oh
You
yeah.
know,
I
we
mean,
are we are a spoiled fan base. Not many. I don't think any team has won
I
9
gotta
championships in a row.
disagree.
I
gotta
don't know
disagree
if
with
I'd
that.
say we're spoiled.
We don't. We only have 2 Champions Leagues. Okay. A
Now,
spoiled, I think
I'll
is out
give
of
you
line.
the two Champions League. But how many finals have we gone to?
Oh, who gives a shit? You lose. It doesn't
No,
mean.
no, no. But
God,
that's the
this
thing.
is what fucking
But
7
that's
Champions
but
League
that's the
finals
thing.
means.
Like, we're in the dance. It's not like we were in some. We never made it or anything like that. We're in the dance. We're competitive. Do we need to get over that hump? How easy would it have been during those Lippi years? We're in the final 3 years in a row. Instead
Yeah.
of winning the one, we won 2.
Right.
I mean,
I
it's
don't think
so
it's
easy.
spoiled to say let's hang on to the standard that we've set.
Right. That's where that
Yeah.
he knows how
Okay.
to put it the right way, and I just say no. But that's how you say it. You know, it's okay. It's okay to say to have a standard and to say we got to keep improving.
Yeah,
Right. Like
I
that's
understand like how it could come off that, oh, you guys are spoiled, like you've been winning one up, but at the same time, I don't see it as being too much to ask your club to maintain that standard, and when it starts to drop off, calling them out on it. I don't see a
yeah.
problem with that. It's because we all want the best. Obviously, nobody
Right.
wants to start losing and go back to the 2009 days for sure.
Yeah.
But
But then,
at the
yes.
same
But the
time, I think
language,
it's over the
I agree
top
with you there.
to call them a shit club. Like,
Exactly.
our club is not shit. We are playing like shit, but we're not a
Yeah.
shit club.
Yeah, we're not. Our colors are black and white, not black and blue. Just remember that.
Yeah, yeah. But going back to the,
you got to remember too, though. Again, after a game like that, emotions are high.
Yeah.
You know, and that's what I was telling Felix. Felix, he said pretty much the same thing. He was going, "You guys are bandwagons." This, I said, Felix, you got to remember, and this was even before me watching the game. Emotions are high. You lose 2-0 to Barcelona. I'm hearing that we played like absolute trash. There was nothing to even smile about. You know, tensions are high. You got to let people vent. That's why I say I don't care if you're gonna say all this shit, but if you come around and you say, you know what, I was wrong or whatever, we're looking good. You come. That's fine. That's why I say I don't judge. I'm not judging. You know, if someone wants to be negative every day, that's your that's your choice.
Yeah.
I mean, you could do that, but I mean, hey, at the end of the day, it is what it is, right? They're going to come around.
Yeah, and I stand behind this because again, it's just keep it the same. Keep it the same expectation for Allegri, for Sarri, for Pirlo now. I said I didn't care last season if we surrendered all trophies if Sarri had us playing very strong. And we were unfortunate. The problem now with Pirlo and us sounding possibly spoiled because we don't have patience or whatnot is the fact that it's how we're losing.
Yeah.
We go into a key matchup at home and we show no desire and completely complacent to sit in the back seat of that match in its entirety. That's the part that I struggle with. And again, this is why I think it sounds spoiled, but that has never, ever, and I go back to the identity of Juventus. It has never been in our DNA to fucking bend over like that and just fucking take it. You fight. You fight for the loose balls. You fucking give it everything you have. But now all of a sudden, our identity's in jeopardy, man. And I've seen it fading for a few years now, unfortunately. But you know, where are these guys? Like, what's with our and again, when we go back to management, the criticisms, we're no longer building teams. We're picking players because of market opportunities rather than getting the guys that make sense to us. And I question their business decisions when you want a free transfer, but it's a guy that you're not going to move after the fact. So it really doesn't matter that you brought him in for free because fucking $0 coming in after fact on a free is fucking $0 at the end of it. And all you come out is negative the wages. Spend the extra money, bring in a Barella who would have been a fan. And that was the exact profile we needed that season. And we passed because he had like a 30 to 40 million transfer fee. And instead we took 2 free midfielders, which is fine. But the rest of the moves didn't make sense, man. It didn't make sense. We handcuffed ourselves. It's frustrating, but again, I see a team making a lot of moves based on market opportunities and just some of the decisions in general. When Juve fans try to justify to me that we cannot bring in Haaland because he won't get the minutes. How in the fuck does this kid not get the minutes on that team when Higuain is your only 9?
Reach.
I go, Haaland, you do everything you can to sign him, and if I had to promise him the rest of the minutes in the league, I would have, and I would have had him up top with Ronaldo on his fucking flank and said, Higuain, it's time to go, buddy.
Yeah.
And what did we do? So we passed on that. Okay, we'll get him when his release clause. Well, it's Raiola, man, so don't bank on these release clauses and all this shit. I know how that goes. One contract extension, bump it all up. Here you go.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, hey, Juve. Yeah, and then we'll be signing Quagliarella for his return.
Yeah, exactly. And
he can still score.
Okay, yeah, fair enough. I actually love Quag, so.
Yeah, no disrespect there. No disrespect there. But, guys, I think it's just maybe the way, I mean, again, I'm not going to speak for everyone else, but, getting raised in an Italian household, not that we were always, fighting for something. You're always trying to prove something. You never rest on your laurels. Hard workers, I would say. I think that mentality is completely gone. And it's really sad to see. I think there's plenty of time to turn it around, but, in terms of the culture at the club, what happens at the end of the season, there's still a lot of time to find out. And I think Pirlo is going to get the opportunity, like the president said. I wouldn't doubt that them backing them. But again, like you said, I think there is, the group stage only goes to the end of December. So we're 2 months. These next 2 months are going to be basically Pirlo's going to live and die by that.
Yeah.
And
we should, theoretically speaking, right? We had the game against Barcelona. We already got the way every time I look at the group stage is you got your 1-2 teams that are going to go through, and your third team is the guy that you're worried about, and the fourth team is an easy win. So we beat the third team, your third tier team. You should easily win the home and away this week against the weakest team. You're gonna most likely beat the third team again
at home
on the next week on the match. So now, because we had the 2-0 loss against Barcelona, that game is going to be key.
Well, I still think we can beat them
because we can get top tier in the group stage. We're definitely going to go through the group stage. The matter is where's going to be our placing.
Yeah.
Now, if we drop points against these lesser opponents, Piero's in question.
Well, like I said, I think there's always going to be question week to week. Like I said, Spezia's next, right? Promotion team. So it starts there, guys. Tomorrow I'm going to be having Davide back on again. It seems like all these young content creators. I had the young Barca fan. Now I'm going to have another Juve fan, and a couple more of his friends want to come on the show, which is nice to hear the response. Thank you guys so much for coming on. It's been a pleasure. Awesome conversation, which it always is. And hopefully another 50,000 episodes if all holds well with me and guys. Anytime you guys want to come, this is more than my home. It's your home, and it's home to anyone else who wants to come on. And we always have a good time. We always have a civil conversation. You even look at with the Barca fan. I'm surprised how much these kids know. Sometimes us older heads or whatever you want to call it like to downplay what these guys know, and he was knowledgeable and he knew the young guys, and it was a good interview. So I hope to again have you guys back on as always on the podcast, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, Podbean, Google Podcast, and please smash that subscribe. Please smash the like. Follow Al on at all UVCast, excuse me, and at striped_hearts. Make sure to pick up some shirts, guys. It goes to a good cause, as well as the designs are fire. So why would you not want to participate in that? And I got to get some of those stickers definitely, because I got to put some stuff on this laptop. It's too bare. Beautiful look, Edgar Davids, unbelievable. Yeah. And again, James, thank you for coming on, man. You've always reached out. We've had your kids. We've had you in the dark. We'll have you on many more times. So, at Jimmy_Stallion. Thank you, man.
Just wanted to thank the two of you guys. You guys giving me an opportunity to be on both of your pods. With your help, I actually was just elected to the board on the Juventus Toronto fan club. So right now we are in our growth stage. We have till the Christmas season to grow our members. So if anyone is in the GTA area and looking to be part of the fan club, we have a lot of great promotions that are involved in just being part of the fan club. You're connected to the Juve community. We have viewing parties. Even in this COVID world, we still have outside of Toronto. We're in the GTA, all over the GTA. We have regions that are not under restaurant restriction right now, and we're having viewing parties that are over there. So if anyone is interested in becoming a member, look us up on our website, jofctoronto.com, and we're still taking on members, or shoot me a message at Jimmy_Stallion. So thanks to the two of you guys. We're actually started our own podcast too.
Oh,
it's
beautiful.
Called the 6 Yard Box Podcast. So we're going to be recording after this weekend's game, and if anyone is familiar with the GTA area, we have our resident DJ who is on one of the popular radio stations, Z103. DJ Danny D is going to be on our podcast. So for me, this is exciting. I grew up listening to this guy, so I'm actually going to be on the podcast with a local celebrity. So, the only reason this has happened is you two guys have given me the opportunity. So thank you guys.
Oh, congratulations, man. Congratulations. I just got to clarify one thing. So this means I'm guaranteed tickets for life. Is that correct?
You become a member of our fan club. That's part of the fan club benefits, right? So as a fan club, we get access to tickets to Torino.
And one more thing. So are you sure you're allowed to say your opinion? Because I was also I also had someone else on my podcast that I had to do a little U-turn. Are you sure you're allowed to? Can I release this? I just want to make sure.
You're good to go.
I'm just bugging.
Who are you talking to?
Well, you didn't say anything about the club, so you're good. But anyways, guys,
screwed.
Exactly. I was like, yep, that box is not going to be checked off for sure.
Yeah, no, you guys, it's been awesome. James, there's no thanks necessary on my end. Daniel, I want to congratulate you on your 50th, and here's to fucking a million more, buddy. It's awesome. I love that your club's coming out with a pod too. It's awesome because it seems like it's just coming out of everywhere, and I love it because it's all different views, different opinions, and that's what it's all about. Some people take things a little too to heart sometimes when we share our opinions. It's just how we feel. The Ronaldo thing, it's just what it is, man. Like, these guys just need to understand, when I say these things, I'm not attacking him or discrediting anything he's done in his career. It's more on Juve's end. We found out that we thought we were this close and we weren't. We thought he would be the final piece, and all it did was expose where we were. And that's more of what I was trying to say. But we get so fired up, and it comes out in a hell of a lot different way. And then you listen back, you're like, you know what? Yeah, I could get it why I fired some people up. But it's all fun. It's all good. I love it. I love the more podcast, the better.
Oh, yeah.
And I just appreciate what everybody's doing out there. So all the pods that are coming out, I know that there's another one I just read about today coming out. It's amazing. I love that all this stuff is out there, especially because, we're all Canadians. And I knew growing up how hard it was to get any kind of media surrounding Juve. And the fact that we have it all at our fingertips now, and all these great Juventini sharing their stories, giving their insight, their opinions. I love it, man. I don't want to hear some dude in England that's never watched the goddamn club that just decides to commentate on one game and wants to talk up Bernardeschi because we've been watching him his whole tenure with Juve. And first of all, he's calling them fucking Bernardeschi. Well, do you go to the restaurant and order a fucking bruschetta? Come on, man. Fucking get the names right at least.
The war. He's starting a war. He's starting to get a war right at the end.
Yeah, but no, it's awesome, man. I mean, we grew up in Canada, and holy Christ, man, I used to remember the days of the big ass satellite dish that my dad went out to get because we're gonna get all the games. And sometimes you hear this thing crank, and you think it's gonna fall through the roof as you're trying to change stations, and all of a sudden you get this picture, and there's no audio, and you didn't care because you were watching the game, the club that you love. And it's just awesome now. We sometimes take it for granted and sometimes go a little harsh on people for just expressing their views and their opinions. But honestly, you guys should all appreciate it because there was a lot of people that didn't have that, and it's I just respect and appreciate everybody that puts out content that feels passionate enough to put in the time, because we all have lives. There's a lot of stuff going on at home that people don't know about. And it's not easy when you're trying to pull guests and you have people in Australia, people 9 hours difference. It takes a lot to do this. And I have a massive appreciation and amount of respect for everybody doing it. So that's all I just want to say. So props to you, Daniel, and keep doing what you're doing, brother.
Always perfectly put. Always perfectly put.
It's amazing that here we are, three Italian Canadians sitting here talking about Juve in three different cities across Canada.
And that's unbelievable.
When you think about it, it is truly amazing.
And I gotta give a shout out to the initiative between my friend Roman and I with La Panchina. In a world where now we're dealing with a global pandemic, these watch parties are amazing, and I can't say thanks enough. Dan, you've been a part of it, and it's amazing. Who would have thought, if you would have told me when I was younger, I'm going to be, logged in live and watching Juve with a friend in Norway and a friend in freaking London and another in Scotland. And it's just like, and we have a blast, and it's amazing. It's the banter I didn't get a lot of because it was just my dad and myself, and my dad sometimes goes off in his own little world when he watches Juve, but it's so much fun. And if you guys haven't, reach out to Roman or myself and take part. It's a good time.
Yeah, me and James will be on the same one. So guys, check it out. Like I said, there's so much where we've come from. You guys have put it amazingly to where we are now. It's unbelievable. And guys, thank you for watching. I hope you could make it all the way down here. You guys know where all our channels are. I think we put it out perfectly. And, as always, Forza Juventus, fino alla fine. And I hope you guys are doing all well. Ciao, guys.
Forza Juve.
Forza.